Hello there. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Today's August 4th, 2019, and in this particular video I share a few things. The first, it recorded the creation of this month's Patreon artwork. Every month, if you pledge $15, you get artwork in the mail. I was very excited about this month's artwork because I learned how to sew again, and that has opened up a world of new possibilities. I also paint a few things towards the end. But for now, let's get into this month's Patreon artwork. I call this Chips. The cool thing about Patreon is that it's given me the chance to try tons and tons of new things. And then the new things I learn, I can apply into the next things that I do. I knew I wanted to use silk screening to create something, but I didn't know what. And I had already done like a silkscreen image. I thought, hey, I want to do something on fabric. I don't just want to do a silk-screened piece of fabric. How about a doll? I knew that sewing would come later. I wanted to create a two-part doll. I'd never done it before. So this is the creation of a two-part doll. This version here was one I made with just hot glue, just to make sure that the fronts and the backs of the things that I made matched up. And they look pretty good. So the more steps a project has, the larger the margin of error becomes. I was printing on muslin, and I only messed up 2 prints out of like 25 prints. It turned out very well. I was very psyched. I tried hand sewing one, and when I was done with it, I just thought to myself, man, I can't do 20 of these by hand. I need to dive in and learn that sewing machine again. So when I learned sewing machines, the part that lifted the foot up and down was right here. I spent a half an hour last night looking for this. I didn't even see it. After tinkering with it for about an hour, I finally got it to sew a straight line, and this was an accomplishment. As I held this, I was reminded of a strange part of Australian pornography law that I believe has since been overturned. I won't go into detail, but if you're interested, look it up. I think the overturn happened somewhere in 2012. Well, onward. So if you're a fan of Carl Sagan's Cosmos, like I am, you probably know that there's a spacecraft that's traveling to the edge of our universe that has a golden record. And on this golden record has all the sounds of Earth, all different nationalities singing songs and greetings and stuff. And it's got a picture of humankind on it, and it also has instructions on how to play the record. Now, those aliens must be a lot smarter than me, because I've been trying to thread this in order to spin a bobbin instead of these straightforward arrows. So good luck, aliens. Me, a dummy on Earth, is going to keep struggling with this. Took hours and hours, but I've successfully sewed my first Chips guy. Now I just got to do 19 more. So I had something to eat, which is nice, and I've turned all of my handsome boys inside out. Now I need to find the right sized stand for them. Why cut one at a time when you can cut 5 at a time? Work smart. Here's a shot of all my buddies before I gave them their personality, a shot with their eyes. And for the final step, I cut a bunch of bases out of brown hardboard.
Boop. Well, it started as this 3 or 4 days ago, just to see how it would look. This was a mock-up I did with glue, and then I sewed 20 of them. So here's my army. They were screen printed on muslin. They have jangly eyes. They have a signed base, so it'll stay put.
When I was all done with that, I needed to make some boxes so I could send these out to y'all. Today I am making boxes for my little buddies so I can send them all to my Patreon pals. I have to make them by hand, and it's a lot of fun.
Check out my boxes, dude. I'm gonna make some little boxes out of bigger boxes. Dude, I had big boxes, and now I'm gonna make little boxes out of the big boxes. Dude, check out all these boxes, dude. Dude, that's so many boxes. Fuck!
Welcome to your new homes, fellas. I hope you take this time to reflect on what you've done to end up in this place.
Especially you! Oh, yeah!
The first night I got back into sewing, I was inspired to make a doll that was a little bit more complex. I used to sew a lot of dolls many moons ago, and I liked making their clothes and their shoes. I like making dolls a lot, and now relearning a sewing machine, I know how to do that again. But here's a doll I ended up making of myself, which I thought turned out pretty fun. I had so much fun sewing today that I'm going to spend the rest of my evening sewing a bunch of weird things. Let's make some weird things.
So I shall begin with this white napkin. The possibilities. A lot of my characters tend to have this weird light bulb shaped head. So I'm going to start off making a head for our friend here. Heads are cool and everything, but if you have a head, you could probably use some hands. I am quickly remembering why I didn't make my doll hands like this 15 years ago. What a pain in the bottom. Not a bad start. Not really moving at a blistering pace here, but I'm having fun and learning new things.
I began sorting through the giant totes of fabric. I started with a pair of pants. The technical aspects I really enjoy, making pants, and then I moved on to making a shirt. And one of these days I'll make a real shirt, but now I just make an idea of a shirt. But it turns out pretty cool. And this is most of the body assembled so far. Since the dense cotton I was using for the head wasn't really malleable, I decided to just go ahead and paint it. And I ended up painting myself, which was fun. I moved very quickly and made myself a pair of wooden shoes because I just wanted to get the job. Here's how it turned out.
Well, tonight's adventure led me to make a effigy of myself. Slightly content, it seems. That's cool. You gotta go where art takes you, I guess. So I guess I'll take me and shove me up in this area on the window right here. So it hangs out in the background of my Patreon videos. I get to do this for another day.
Every once in a while I still manage to sell some mystery paintings, so I took a record of 2. Here's a short time lapse of them. Our final chunk today is the creation of a custom piece. This was an idea that somebody had for a bat. So let's paint a bat. First project of the day, I'm going to be drawing a bat. But not just any bat. I'm going to be using a cool method where you start with the black background and then you bring the things out of the darkness. Ooh.
So this piece is going to be a drunk bat sitting at a bar. So I'm going to start with black as the base, and then I'm going to start with browns, a very dark brown, and it's going to work forward, and then some of the browns are going to turn into reds, and then some of them going to turn into yellows underneath the light. I'm going to use that as a light. I'm going to use that light as light. I'm going to use the light as lighting for the piece. So first, I need to put down a base of very dark brown. And this is cool. It doesn't need to be exact. It just needs to block out the basics of your painting. Here was my idea, and this is how I blocked it out. Now that I've got the beginnings here, I can add a little bit of white to my brown there and start bringing things forward. So instead of just adding white to the color brown I was using, I got another color brown. And I'm glad I made this decision. It brightens up the piece just a little. But now I've got the main players of the painting layered out here. And this is where having black as a base coat can come in handy. This is where I like to go and outline everything to really sharpen things up. So by using black, I went through and I touched up some of the mess I made before. Now I'm going to lighten up this brown here and do one more pass over the whole scene before I start painting what's directly affected by this light. Super cool. Now I want to start building up the lighting effects from the top down. So I gotta start thinking about our buddy here and his glasses and his bowl of bugs in a 3D way. What sticks out more? What's covering things? Its cute little bat proboscis is covering its chest here, and maybe this isn't so well lit. Let's see how it goes. I'll do this in 1 or 2 passes. Here was the first pass. I started defining the fur, and I gave its face a little bit of definition there. I've never seen a bat sitting like this, and if you've ever seen a bat, you know they have like the furry arms and like the fleshy bits that they fly with. So I wasn't really sure how to smush those into this, but I hope I'm getting the point across that this is a bat. I think this is a mishmash of a couple of different bats, and since the gag was the bat is getting drunk off of blood, I probably should have painted a vampire bat, but I didn't. But I'm going to give him little vampire teeth. But what I did was I mixed king's gold with some brown for this first one, and now I'm just going to go a little bit lighter on next pass. I modified the lamp because without any sensible way of light reaching up top, I was just going to have this brown dead zone, so I gave it some heat relief up there. Our excursion is almost over. I'm very excited. I'm going to do one more pass. I'm going to mix some white and some of my king's gold and really bring forward a few of these places on here, a few attention grabbers. Gonna draw some bugs in there, gonna write some nonsense on that sign. We're really going places together today. Thank you. Here's our completed piece of our drunk bat. I hope I didn't make the red too extreme, that it would take you out of the piece. I just tried to add hints, different places. So maybe it's a different, it's a layered gag. Oh, look, it's a drunk bat. Oh, the bat's drinking blood.
Here's the finished piece. I think it turned out pretty well. Came out pretty close to what I had in mind when I set out to make it. A lot of people on Instagram expressed positive thoughts that I shared the process. So I think this is something I'm going to do again in the future when I'm inspired. That's it for this edition. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to all my Patreon pals.
going to be a lot more sewing in the future. Relearning a sewing machine has really opened up a world of possibilities, and I'm excited to share them with all of you. So thank you again, and I will see you very soon.